Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
Marco.
you.
My name is Marco.
Amy.
Hello.
Welcome, Marco. Thank you for coming here. I appreciate that you are willing to try to sort out the issue that occurred. I was told very briefly by your common mutual friend, I think, so I don't know a lot about the situation, and I will be surely interested to learn more. But do you agree that I make a short introduction in terms of how the mediation works?
Yes, a good idea, yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's to be very brief. My role as a mediator is to be neutral, not to take sides or give advice or solution, but to help you sort out issues that you have, or decide how do you want to proceed with it, or whether you come to an agreement or not. It's basically up to you, but with my support, right?
Mm.
So it means it's voluntary. You're free to say whichever you feel like saying, and you're not obliged to say or agree to anything you don't want to. And also, well, if there's an agreement, you may want to write it down, like in terms of contract or agreement, and maybe you don't. That's again up to you. Well, there's also an option of separate sessions. So if you feel like speaking to me directly or only with me to sort out something, that's also an option if you decide that that's what would be useful for you. And yes, and the mediation is confidential. So basically what we discuss here is confidential. You can decide otherwise if you like. If you both agree that it's not confidential, then it's up to you. For me, in any case, it stays here. Okay?
Yes.
So that's roughly about that. So how does it sound?
It sounds fine, yes.
Okay. Okay. So before we start, maybe just a question: if you want to agree or to talk about some guidelines or some how the conversation will go along, if you want to agree on some ground rules or some things that you don't want to happen in this conversation, it's up to you.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I mean, we just want to. You're the mediator.
Okay.
We don't know about mediation. So, what are these ground rules, or what could they be?
Well, sometimes people decide they don't want there's any shouting or name calling, or that only one speaks at a time, or whatever you feel you need or you would.
Well, that sounds sensible. Yeah, no shouting. One person speaks at a time. That sounds okay.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you both
Sure.
agree that
Yes,
there's no
I
shouting
think
and.
that's normal. So yes, I think
Sounds
we
okay.
polite.
should
Yes,
be able
yes.
to do that. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, and anyway, if at any later point of time you discover that the conversation is not working as you would like, or that something is happening that you don't like, then please bring it up, and we can talk about it later on as well.
Okay.
So, because the idea is that the conversation goes the best way possible in terms of being useful and productive, the two of you, and of course it's up to you to also have an impact on how it goes, obviously. Okay?
So and are we here for some more sessions, or how long do we sit here?
Well, it depends. Again, it's voluntary, so if at any point of time you decide it's not working or that you reach an agreement, it ends there when you both or
Right.
either of you decide that it's over. And otherwise it depends on the subject matter of the things you want to discuss. And it's hard to tell in advance how long it will take. It's basically, it depends on the complexity of the situation or, the interaction. So it's open. It's again.
So I've got 2 hours set aside today. But if we're still going at that time, can we then come back another day if necessary?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
So you have 2 hours set aside. So if more time would be needed, then we would.
Well, I've got a busy garage to run, so
Yeah.
shall we get on?
Let's do that. So just to check in with you about the time frame, the maximum
Yes,
2 hours
that's perfect.
for today, and it's quite possible that it ends today. I mean, again, it's up to you. So let's get on then, if you agree.
Okay.
About what would you like to discuss, or what would you like to sort out, or?
Well, I can start. Because.
Well, she's the woman.
I found-
She thinks it's a problem. I don't.
Okay.
Yes, so
You don't think
if you
there's a
don't
problem?
interrupt me, like we just said in the ground rules, so maybe I can start by,
Okay.
because I filed a complaint.
Okay.
So I will tell you what the problem is. So I've been to this garage for some years, and I had a problem with my car last week, and so something was broken, and it was fixed, and then I, went on the road again, and then 2 days later the car was broken again. So obviously I brought it back to the garage,
Okay.
and actually it was the same part that was not working, but then they fixed it, and then they charged me again for the same amount.
For the same amount for the same
Yes,
thing?
for the same amount as for the previous week, where they amended it. So I was shocked actually, because
So,
I mean they did a bad job, and now I have to pay as well for the second time, and they didn't even apologize or something like that, or I just don't think it's very fair, and I didn't expect it from this garage who I've been attending to for several years.
You've been there for several years, and you
Yes.
didn't expect that they would be treating you like that? They didn't
No,
even
because I'm
apologize?
a fair customer for some years, like I said, and I expect some service.
And you're saying that basically next day that the car broke, it
Yes.
turned out to be the same thing as they repaired,
Yes.
but they charge it again for the same, to do the same thing again, they charge you again for that?
Yes, because I don't know. He probably will explain later, but
Okay?
he said it was. It was the same part, but he has some reasons why he says otherwise. I don't really understand.
Well, that's
but,
right. She has.
Okay.
It's not quite right what she says, but she's not a
Well-
mechanic, therefore she wouldn't necessarily know.
So you're saying it's not quite right what she's saying?
That's right. It is similar. It's true. She brought the car in, yes, and she's been an old customer for many years. And equally well, the car has got older over the years, and it's an old car.
That has just nothing to do with it. My car is perfectly fine.
Well,
So
I
you
know
seem to
I-
disagree on the issue of the car. You say it's getting
Anyway,
old, and you say it's
what-
perfectly
Yes.
fine.
What it was the front axle that had gone, and the front axle needed to be replaced.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, this is an old front axle, and you can either replace it with a brand new one, or we can mend this using old parts.
No, you didn't.
And
No, you didn't. You didn't tell me that.
I told you that it was an axle, and you could
Yes,
you could
yes.
either have a brand new one, or we could try and mend it.
No, you just said I can mend it. You said thank you for bringing the car, and we will see to it.
Okay, so there has been a misunderstanding in terms of what were their options, and you're saying you offered her a choice, either to give a brand new axle or to mend it.
Well,
And
all
you're
right.
saying that you only heard, or that he only said that he can mend it.
Yes.
So
all
you
right.
didn't realize that there was a choice.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
What you say is right from one point of view. You brought the car in, and because I've known you as an old customer, I said, I'll mend it, I'll sort it. But then, when I looked at it, I discovered that we could either put a brand new one in that was very expensive, but it was probably the best thing, or we could mend the old one. And didn't I telephone you in the evening and say,
No,
you've
you
got the
didn't.
choice?
No, you didn't. I did get well, that's another thing. I did get a call from someone at the garage who I didn't know.
Well, it was yes, all right.
But that's,
It's about my mechanic made the phone call, yes.
yes, and he said you can pick up the car tomorrow.
Well,
And also, that's another thing, there's somebody working there just recently, and he just finished school. I mean, I don't know, I mean, he's just a new person, and he's kind of
So there's
weird,
somebody.
I guess, yeah.
So there's somebody new working there, just finished maybe, and
Yes.
it's weird you're saying that.
Yes, well, I've seen him when I brought the car in, and he was walking to the back, and he was acting a little bit strange to
Uh-huh.
me. So it's just.
So you didn't feel very
felt-
comfortable
No.
with that,
No.
and
Yes.
and was he the one calling you, or you
Yes.
said
And
somebody?
he, yes.
And
And he
was
was the
the one
one
who
who fixed the car.
Okay. Oh.
So-
okay. So you
So
didn't feel
no, I didn't feel really comfortable, and also, I'm not. They have some very good employees at the garage for several years, but who I really trust as well. But now there's some new person, and then my car is broken down. So
So you're also skeptical about this, and
yes.
how did it make you feel that the new guy took over your car? Was it?
Well, I have, like I said, I have very good experience in the past with
With the garage?
yes, and with Mr. Jones here, so I really appreciate this firm, and so I guess I could trust them.
So since you had the good experiences with Mr. Jones and the firm,
Yes.
you thought, okay, I guess I can trust the new guy
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the trouble is, it's a different story. All right, I didn't speak to her myself, as I usually do, because my garage has expanded over the years, and indeed, yes, I've just taken on new premises, and we've taken on some new workmen, that's true. And I delegate to these people now. And this mechanic we looked at it, and he told me the position, and I said, well, you must get on to Mrs. Smith, and tell her she's got to decide whether to have a brand new axle or whether she wants the old one repaired. And if the old one's repaired, well, it's a gamble as to how long it's going to last. I left that to him, and he told me he'd done that.
Oh, he told you he's done that?
Yes.
And you instructed him specifically to call Mrs.
I told him. Well, he told me he left a message with somebody who said his mother was out shopping, so he left a message, and the message somehow came back saying repair the old one. That's what he told me. So I did the old repair.
Okay, so you did instruct him to give the choice to Mrs. about the car, and he told you that he did, and he told it to somebody who said that his mother is not home?
As far as I'm aware, so the message got back, she wanted the old thing patched up.
To you the message came back that she wanted the old thing installed?
Yes.
And so that's what you did?
And not the expensive new job.
Yes.
So she was running the risk of it breaking down again.
And that's why you wanted to ask for her choice, so to inform her that that's a risk, that it's cheaper but it's a risk.
That's right.
On the other hand, that would be expensive, but it would be a better choice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as far as you were concerned, that was her decision
Yes.
to gamble, basically,
Yes.
to give in the old part.
That's right, yes. And yes, it did break down. It broke down a bit earlier than one might expect. But it was always on the cards. It was always a possibility. It was always something that a risk, as I understood, she took.
Okay, so if I may just summarize it a little bit, it seems that there has been many things involved, or that things were happening differently, or the perception was different. And obviously you have a long-lasting business or professional relationship. You were bringing the car for some time already to the garage, and you were all the time it was fine, and you trusted the company. And when this thing broke, the car broke, you discovered that it's an axis, and you instructed your employee to contact, because your garage expanded, you instructed your employee to contact Mrs. So-and-so about this and offer her a choice.
It's a new system, giving the mechanics responsibility, you said.
Yes. So your assistant, and he should give the choice whether to put the old axis, which is a gamble, or a new one, which is expensive. And the answer that came back to you was that the choice was the old one. So that's what you did.
Yes, that's right.
However, you said that basically you did receive a phone call, but the only thing that was told to you was that the car will be fixed on next day, and you didn't even realize that there was a choice to be made in terms of old or new axis, and you were obviously upset after when the next day the car broke again with exactly the same part that was problem in the first place.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it seems there are different, well, I'm not sure what happened in between, but it seems that you have different information about the very same, situation, and
Yes,
that,
it appears so, yes.
Well, that's well, I'm confused because my mechanic had, admittedly, he'd only been with me for a couple of days. He told me he'd made the inquiry, and he told me he'd got the choice. Who am I to believe? And
okay, so you are confused, a bit confused
I don't like
now.
to disbelieve in Mrs. Jones. She's been a good customer, but having said that, why should this mechanic lie to me?
So
But,
it's,
I mean, were you out? Did you have a message?
Yes, I was out at the time, yes.
And did someone leave a message for you?
Yes, my son told me that I could pick up the car the next day because he had spoken to the mechanic.
But did the mechanic tell him that there was a choice of work to do?
Oh, well, my son didn't tell me that, so I'm not sure.
I'm sorry to ask you, how old is your son?
My son is 13,
13?
yes.
Well, you see, my mechanic wasn't to know his age, so if he got a message from someone that sounds like a responsible person, maybe he acted upon that. And maybe your son tried to help you by making a decision for you, knowing his mother doesn't like spending money unnecessarily.
Well, I don't know if he would do that, because that's not how it works at my home, but well, I can see, it's certainly something I have to ask him, what kind of phone call
So
it has been.
that's
Yes.
something to clarify, you're saying, to ask him what
that
kind
would
of,
be fair, I guess,
that would be
yes.
fair. If it's true that
So
he
I
was,
can do that right now, I can call
Uh-huh.
him right now and just see to clarify it,
okay,
so then we can move on, I guess, with the
Okay.
mediation.
so do you want us to make a short break in order for
Yes,
you to make the
please.
phone call?
Well, I think that
Yes.
it would focus. We'll
Sure.
see where it may well be there's common ground. It may well be there's not. It could be
Yes.
that could be useful.
Okay. So how long do you think you need, like 5 minutes
Yes,
break?
5 minutes, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we stop now and we reassemble
sure.
in 5 minutes, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you.
And that's probably enough of this visit.